Cool. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys so y'all can see what I am covering. Cool. Okay. So here's what we're going to be going through. We're going to be going through what leads to injuries and how to prevent them, and how to rehab your injuries, obviously. And then at the end, we're going to cover a quick summarized injury to-do list so that you don't have to go through the whole document and try to figure out what exactly you need to do. It's already laid out for you. So there are several things that can actually lead to injury. So we're going to cover them and how to prevent them from happening. So one of the big things that leads to injuries is dehydration. So proper hydration is required not only for your optimal performance in the gym, actually in and out of the gym, but it's also really important for your muscles not to spasm or tighten up. Specifically, if you have a deficiency in minerals as well, that can really exacerbate that, and we'll go over that in a second. So your muscles need fluids. Technically your body is made up of 80% water, and your muscles need fluid in order to perform or do the work that they're supposed to do optimally. But when you're dehydrated, you're going to have a greatly increased risk of injury or knots in your muscles, all that stuff. So a cool and interesting fact, being even just mildly dehydrated at just 1% can reduce your performance by up to 20% in the gym. It can also decrease your cognitive ability by up to 30%. So if you're at work or if you're at school and you're trying to be productive, it can decrease that by up to 30%. So proper hydration is really impactful for not just your energy and how your brain performs, but also your body, and then preventing injuries as well. So basically, if you want to maximize your time and efforts in the gym, you should always be properly hydrated, especially on days that you work out. So to prevent injury from being dehydrated, you should consume half of your body weight in ounces or up to 1 times your body weight in ounces of water daily. So if you're 200 pounds, then you should drink at least 100 ounces of water. And you can go all the way up to 200 ounces of water. Another thing that can cause injury is a lack of electrolytes. And electrolytes are minerals. Those minerals can be salt, chloride, magnesium, potassium. There are a bunch of different ones, but if you're deficient in those, they can lead to an increased risk of injury. So electrolytes help your muscles to fire properly and prevent muscle spasming. I don't know if you guys have ever had a Charlie horse where your calf just tightens up for no reason. That's because you for sure are deficient in minerals or electrolytes, but it can also be a combination of being dehydrated as well. So if you're dehydrated and deficient in minerals, you're very likely to hurt yourself in and out of exercise. It can also lead to muscle knots. So a lot of people will have knots in their shoulders or back or neck. And that's a lot of times what it leads to, being dehydrated and a lack of minerals. So to prevent injury from a mineral deficiency, you should consume mostly a whole foods diet, as they are, whole foods are naturally higher in vitamins and minerals than junk foods are. And you should also salt your food to taste. Again, this doesn't mean liberally salt everything to where you hate the taste of it. Just salt your food to how you like for it to taste. A lot of people are scared to eat salt because they think it'll lead to water retention, which if you are dehydrated, yes, it can lead to water retention. And if you're not used to salt, you can retain water in the beginning, maybe the first few days or so. but naturally your body will adjust to it and recalibrate to it. But you should consume sufficient salts and other minerals. And then you should also consider supplementing with magnesium and potassium in supplemental form, because most Americans are chronically deficient in both. This is partly due to the fact that our soil is very depleted. So naturally, if you take care of your soil, it has a lot of minerals and vitamins in it. But because we overproduce and we never let our land rest, our soils are depleted. And so they've done studies where when you look at, say, spinach nowadays versus spinach in the 1940s, the vitamins and minerals are so much lower in spinach nowadays than they used to be in like the 1940s. So because of that, we kind of are at a place where, unless we do fix our soil, that we do have to supplement with a lot of vitamins and minerals. Another thing that can cause injury is poorly formed fascia. So what is fascia? Fascia is the connecting tissue on top of your muscle. So fascia connects muscle to muscle. If you saw fascia, it kind of looks like a web, like a white web, and that's your fascia. But when your fascia is poorly formed or poorly adhered, it can trap your muscles in unnatural positions, both when your muscle is relaxed, like, my biceps right here, it's pretty relaxed right now. If my fascia were poorly formed or poorly adhered, it could, make my muscle not sit the right way as it's relaxed, or when it's flexed, it could not flex properly or in a more natural position if your fascia is poorly formed. Now, how likely is this to happen? It actually can be pretty common for people to have poorly formed fascia due to improper posture, working out the wrong way with bad form, not working out at all. And so it can get very stiff and limit your range of motion and all kinds of stuff. So in order to prevent injury from poorly formed fascia, what you should do is you should do regular foam rolling or stretching or deep tissue massage. And later on, I'm going to cover a really good option for fixing your fascia that's a lot cheaper than deep tissue massage. Another thing is muscle knots. So muscle knots are comprised of tight muscle fibers in a bunch or a knot. And like I mentioned briefly before, this can occur due to tension, muscle imbalances, dehydration, and mineral deficiency, again, poor posture, and injury during any form of movement. Again, the movement doesn't have to be exercise. It could be, just moving about and maybe with improper form, and it causes a muscle knot. Another thing is a lack of mobility, which is, stiff muscles. So having stiff muscles can lead to injury in that, like, if you extend past your current range of motion, you can break your form in another area of your body. For example, like, let's say that you're doing deadlift, or not even deadlift, like you're going to lift something off of the floor, and let's say that your hamstrings are tight. If your hamstrings are tight, then you're likely going to, and you're not practicing good form, you're likely going to end up bending from your back versus your hips. And that can cause back rounding, which, if you're not strong in that position, you can cause injury to your back. So that's just an example of how stiff muscles can lead to injury. So to prevent that, obviously you should work on your mobility, and you should work within your current range of motion, gradually challenging your mobility. And you should also work to increase your mobility through a form of consistent stretching, like, let's say, 3 times a week. Injury can occur from poorly formed scar tissue. This is a little bit like the poorly formed fascia. Just like fascia, scar tissue can limit how your muscle moves or even rests. So once a scar is healed, meaning like no open wounds or like, the internal damage is all healed up, you do want to do some deep tissue work to release the scar's adhesions if they adhered improperly. Another thing, going into exercise with cold muscles, meaning like you're not having a proper warm up. So depending on the type of training that you do, you should aim to do dynamic stretching before your workouts. Now, this is different from static stretching. Static stretching is where you hold a stretch. And the reason why you don't want to do static stretching before your main workout is because it can temporarily weaken your muscles. Whereas dynamic stretching doesn't do that, but it does warm up your muscles, tendons, and ligaments and prepares you for safe exercise. Obviously, another one is improper form in your exercises. So like when you're in an ideal state, like your body performs a movement with strength, but also with an ability to protect itself. So for example, if you're squatting with a rounded back, that's putting the spine at risk for injury. And as such, like your body isn't protecting itself. So to prevent injury from improper form in your exercises, obviously practice good form over trying to use more weight or getting more reps. So you should always stick to the foundations of movement, which is proper form. So that comes first before more weight or more reps. Another big one is hoisting or heaving the weight up. In other words, like cheating with momentum. So an example of that would like, say you're doing, I don't know if, can you guys see me right now? Okay. So I switched back. Okay, awesome. So say you're aiming to do curls. You're aiming to work your biceps and you're doing curls. This would be an example of strict curls. Like I'm just moving the weight up and down and I'm only moving from the elbow joint and that's it. If you were cheating with momentum, it might look something like this, where you're like shifting your body and like hoisting the weight up like this. This is cheating. And that's using momentum in order to get the weight up. So let's go back. So if you have to hoist or, heave the weight up, the weight is too heavy, and you should reduce the weight. And why that's a problem is because anytime that you incorporate unstrict form or really speedy movement, especially in combination with not strict form, you greatly increase your chance for injury. That's why sports like Olympic lifting, CrossFit, and strongman competitions are really dangerous. You'll see a lot of those people get a lot of injuries to their joints, tendons, ligaments, and muscles. Now, I will say, with regard to me saying it's cheating with momentum, momentum isn't cheating in Olympic lifting, CrossFit, or strongman training, as that's just the type of sport that it is. But with regard to like just conventional strength lifting and bodybuilding, that is cheating. And it's also much less safe. And then finally, doing fast movements. So this is kind of in a similar vein as the momentum point that I made. So anytime that you have speed in a movement, there is an increased risk of injury. Even if you count for all the other factors that can lead to injury, all these other ones up here. Excuse me. Now, in saying that, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do fast movements. And I'm not saying that it's like inherently dangerous, but there is a slightly increased risk. But if you are practicing proper form and control, but you're still doing fast movements, you dramatically decrease the risk for injury. So you can do it pretty dang safely. You just have to account for control and proper form. So now for the big part, how do you rehab injuries if you get injuries? So there are two parts to this. If you just recently got injured, then like for example, an acute injury, like you experienced a really sharp pain, and obviously it was recent, then excuse me, then you'll want to do 3 steps. And the first is rest it, but only until the inflammation has dissipated. The reason why you don't want to rest it for long periods of time is because you will slow down the rehab and the healing process. So you only want to do this during the recent acute phase when it's inflamed. So this may just be like a couple of days or so. During that process, you will want to ice the injury. You should not use heat whatsoever when it's inflamed. Otherwise, you will bring more inflammation to the area, and we don't want that because that'll slow down. It'll make your symptoms worse, the pain worse, and it'll also slow down the healing process. And then also, if it doesn't have any sharp pain during these first couple of days, then you may want to consider doing some really slow and controlled movements to start initiating the rehab process, and to also limit your chances of that area becoming very stiff. So for example, Jacob, you said that you hurt your neck today. So what you would want to do is, you know, obviously rest it. Don't do any like extreme activity. If it's like a knot in your shoulder that caused this, you could ice the area. Like if there's any tight or sensitive area, you could ice that. And then also I would focus on doing like really slow movements. So it's your neck. So you could like slowly like turn side to side, look up and down, but only if there's no sharp pain in that process. If there is, then wait a couple of days and then try that again. So this is during the initial phase, which is the inflammatory phase. After that, it's really important that you do these next steps. Or if you have an older injury and there's no inflammation, then you can just start here. So there are 4 key things. The first 3 are the most important, and the last one, the 4th one, is just a cherry on the top. I highly recommend all of these, but if you could only do 3, I would recommend the top 3: movement, massage, and mobility. And I'm going to show you some really easy ways to do this that's not overwhelming, that doesn't take up a ton of your time, and does not add any added stress, but will help greatly with the rehabbing and healing process. So the first one is movement. So during the rehabbing process, it's so important that you don't stop all activity. Like, I can't tell you how important this is. If you continue movement, particularly movement of the affected area, like let's say that you hurt your hip, you will heal it and rehab it faster if you continue movement of it. But you shouldn't go back to, you know, obviously what caused it to hurt. Like say you were squatting really heavy and you hurt your back or your hip, like you obviously shouldn't go back to lifting the exact same weight with the exact same intensity. No, you should lower your intensity, lower the weight, do a weight that you can safely do with 0 pain. You might have, it can be okay to have a little bit of like dull pain, and that's just part of the healing process, but you should have absolutely 0 sharp pain. So if you're having sharp pain, then you're doing something wrong. So let me give you an example of how I rehabbed my back and hip injury. So back in April this year, 2022, I ended up hurting my back and my hip from squatting. And how I hurt it isn't super important. I basically went against my own advice. I had just come back from not going to the gym for 9 days because I was sick. I caught a stomach bug. I was like throwing up. diarrhea. I could eat barely any food. So on top of no exercise for 9 days, eating very, very little calories, and also being sick, I really should have eased back into my normal training instead of going back to my normal heavy lifting. But I was eager to get back at it. So I tried to squat 260 pounds for 6 reps, which I had easily done before. And after the first or second rep, I don't remember which one it was, I was like, dang, I don't have it. And I didn't feel a sharp pain, but I knew something was off. Later that day, I knew I had really hurt it. And I had hurt it so bad that I basically wasn't able to squat heavy for 2 months. But I'm going to go over how I rehabbed it really quickly. So I couldn't squat heavy or do any leg exercises heavy at all. But does that mean that I stopped training my legs? Absolutely no. What I did do was I did my normal workouts, which I do full body workouts. But when it came to my leg exercises, I reduced the weight significantly and made sure I did them slow and controlled. So for example, squats, I had to go all the way back down to just doing my body weight. But I made sure I did that because that is what injured me. It's important to go back. If you got injured during exercise, it's important to go back to what injured you as part of the rehabbing process, as long as you had and are still practicing good form. So I kept working out legs, and I gradually was able to add more and more weight. And then within 2 months, I was back to my squat personal record. And I even surpassed that. Now I'm squatting like 280 pounds for 5 or 6 reps. I don't remember. So yeah, if you hurt yourself, don't stop working out the injured area. That's super important. The second one is massage, specifically trigger point therapy. So yes, you could go to a masseuse and get deep tissue massage around the injured area, and that's great, but that can be really expensive. And, if you're being moderate, you might, pay for that like once a week, when in reality, like you probably should be getting some form of massage like at least 3 times a week to help with the healing process. So what you can do instead to save yourself time and money is do trigger point therapy, abbreviated as TPT. So TPT is really great at breaking up poorly formed fascia, scar tissue, muscle knots, and bringing blood flow to the injured area, which will all help speed up the healing process. And I can't tell you like how many injuries I have healed myself just by doing TPT alone. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that in just a second, and then also what tools that I use. So you can easily do this by yourself with either a fascia tool or a ball. So right here, I have a fascia tool right here. It basically has like a bunch of claws, and I'm going to show you all how to use it. Or you could use a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball. Now, a tennis ball is great if you're really sensitive to pressure. You can start with a tennis ball, but over time, you want to increase your pressure threshold and be able to get deeper and deeper. So from there, you can move to a lacrosse ball. And then from there, you can move to something like a fascia tool, which helps to get a lot deeper into the muscle. So, and I have links for where you can find these things. If y'all want this, I can give this to y'all later. So let's go over how you use a fascia tool. I also, in this form, I have videos on how to use a like a ball, but I'm not going to go over that right now. So I'm just going to show you guys how to use a fascia tool. So let me go back to the main screen. Okay, so if like say you have knots in your neck and shoulders, your trap muscles. So That's oftentimes my problem area. So what you do, you can either do this in or out of the shower. I personally like to do this in the shower because it's a lot cleaner. I can just use soap and water. But if you're doing outside of a shower, you do have to use oil. I personally like grapeseed oil because it is non-comedogenic, meaning it will not clog your pores. So if I have an injury or not in my shoulder, then I will just come with this tool and you just go back and forth. And it helps to break up the fascia, the knots, any poorly formed scar tissue. And depending on the area of your injury, you only need to do that for like 2 minutes to like 10 minutes per session. So it does not take up a lot of your time at all. I recommend doing that at least 3 times a week. Well, that depends. That also depends on the condition of your injury. You may need to take it slower where you just do it once or twice a week, but gradually you'll become, more accustomed to it, and you can do it at least 3 times a week, all the way up to like 5 times a week. So let me go back to screen I was sharing. Okay, cool. And then the third most important thing is working on your mobility. So, while mobility, it kind of has a similar process, like stretching has a similar process as trigger point therapy, but in the sense that it like increases blood flow to the tissues and around the injured area. It also helps to like release the poorly formed fascia, scar tissue, and knots. So it does have the similar benefits as TPT, but it is gentler and it teaches you to relax in the passive aspect. Whereas like while you're doing TPT, that's, you're being very active with your muscles. So I will say that working on my stretching is what brought me 100% healing. So TPT and rehabbing through exercise brought me to like 85% of healing my injury. But it wasn't until I started stretching, specifically my inner hips, that it brought 100% healing to my injury in my hips. And a lot of it has to do with like when you're in that stretched position, especially when you're injured, your body kind of resists that stretch and you can feel a little bit of pain and tension. But if you work on stretching and your mobility, it tells your body to relax, to release that tension, and also to like essentially like let go of that injury. So I highly, highly recommend that. You can do, so I find it really easy to adhere to stretching when I just tell myself, hey, like as long as I do stretching at least 3 times a week, only for about like 5 to 10 minutes, like I can adhere to that without it like being stressful to me, or like feeling like I'm adding more to my workload. So, and that's really all I did. Just like even just 2 weeks of that 3 times a week helped to heal my injury like really fast. And then also the stretching does help with the mobility aspect of it, helps to prevent injury from occurring in the future. And then the final one, which is the cherry on the top, is red light therapy, specifically NIR, which is near infrared light therapy. Red light therapy, especially infrared light therapy, while it's not required, it can be extremely useful, especially because it can be easily done while you're busy. So you can multitask. Like you can do this while you're working, while you're doing chores around the house. If you get like a specific one, which I'll recommend in a second. And it's really great for like getting deep into your tissues. Like it's really amazing. So when it comes to red light therapy, there are 2 2 wavelengths that are generally used. So normal red light therapy uses 650 nm. I don't remember what the nm stands for, but that basically is like how deep it goes into your tissue. And then near infrared light therapy is 850 nm. And the near infrared light therapy goes so deep into your tissue that it can actually reach your bones. And it can help in the healing and regenerative process of even your bones. It's amazing. So red light therapy is amazing at the healing process in that it helps to reduce inflammation. So you can even use red light therapy in the beginning injury process when you're inflamed. It helps to increase ATP production, which ATP is in essence the main energy source that your body uses for energy of any kind. It increases your antioxidant defenses. It promotes anti-aging and anti-inflammatory effects. It's really great at wound healing. It helps to repair muscle tissues. It promotes faster bone healing as well as pain relief. So again, you can use this in the beginning injury process and it'll help to relieve some of that pain. It stimulates blood flow, detoxification, faster wound healing, and improves your thyroid function and immune health. So there are really a lot of great benefits to red light therapy. So you can, just for like $35, you can buy a bulb and its socket just off of Amazon, and I provided a link here. But I personally prefer to use a red light therapy belt. So it's just a Velcro belt, but you can like wear it around your waist, your shoulder, really anywhere where you have the injury. And I like to wear it when I'm working. So I'm essentially multitasking. Like I'm helping with the healing process, the anti-inflammatory process. And I don't even have to think about it. I don't have to take extra time out of my day. I'm just allowing that to happen while I'm doing my work from home. So I highly, highly recommend that. It is a little bit more expensive. I think I got mine for $79, but man, I love it. Oh, okay. So this is another really cool benefit of red light therapy. So if you're a woman and you're on your period, it also helps with premenstrual cramps. So I'll wear that when I'm on my period and anytime that I have cramps, and it's great at not only relieving them, but preventing them as well. Red light therapy is also, so if you have the normal red light therapy, the 650 nm, not the deep one, that has a heat aspect to it as well. So you can also use it as kind of like a heating pad. So really awesome. Yeah, that covers everything. Does anyone have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
So I'm glad you recommended these red light therapies because the blue light glasses I got is from a company called Bon Charge, and they also have red light devices, but I think their cheapest red light device, which is like a little handheld one, is like $180.
Yeah, some of
And
them, some of them can get like super expensive. But I always try to find like cheaper alternatives in general.
but I guess my question is, you said the belt, and so if you wear the belt, like, and say like I have my neck thing, will that still work on it, or do I have to actually like put the
Yeah,
belt up on?
so I actually have the belt here. So here it is right here. It's, as you can see, it's like really long,
Yeah.
and trying to get it to not blur.
Oh, it's all good. I can see it.
Anyway, so that's the lighted area. Actually, I can plug it in for you guys so y'all can see.
Okay. And would you like put it around your neck, or do you just put it
Yeah,
on
you
your
for
waist
sure
and it?
can. So let me turn it on for you so you can see it.
Okay.
And by the way, guys, like I do not make any money for referring you guys any of this stuff. I'm literally just giving y'all tips that have helped me, have helped my clients. All this stuff is backed by science. So here it is on. So if you were doing it on your neck and shoulders, you can just wrap it around like this. So if I were doing work, I just come here and do that.
Good too, because I got my shoulder issues a bit too. So
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, for you, I would say the biggest thing is, so do you carry a lot of tension in your neck?
oh yeah, like I haven't gotten deep tissue massages in a while due to like financial stuff. But every time I go, they're like, "Man, where do you have all these knots?" And like,
Okay.
I got wicked knots.
So you probably have a similar problem that I have. Like,
Yeah.
only time that my neck and shoulders will give me issues when I'm not working on my shoulders because I do have a lot of knots there.
Okay.
But any time that I use this fascia tool, like it relieves it so, so well. Like
Yeah.
I'll just spend like I don't even time it, but I'll like just count to like 100, like just doing this on each shoulder. And it doesn't
Okay.
take a lot of time.
Cool
But
beans. Okay.
it helps me so much.
Yeah, maybe I'll keep one in the shower.
Honestly, that's where I keep mine is in the shower.
Okay.
Yeah. Ronald says NM is nanometers. Thank you.
And then yeah, I'm glad you recommended the magnesium. I finally got the supplement, and I've actually been taking double the dose at night. Um,
Okay.
I don't know if it's been
So
helping yet.
you've been taking the 4 capsules instead of the 2?
It says one on the back, so I've been taking two. Should I take four instead, or
Do you know what brand you're taking? Was it I think Farm Haven?
it's the Seeking Health?
Oh, okay. Um, then yeah, I think that one normally just say 1. The other one says 2 capsules. Yeah, you can take double. That's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when it comes to muscular tension, so that form of magnesium is magnesium glycinate, which is really great at like helping you to relax like mentally and emotionally. And it's great for anxiety. But so the magnesium glycinate can be a little bit more pricey. If you're wanting to take magnesium for muscular tension, and all that stuff, then I can refer a different type of magnesium. I personally like magnesium taurate. That's a good absorbable form, and it does help with the muscle tension, things like that.
Helps better than the one I have, you think, or
Um, not necessarily, but in the long run, it's going to be cheaper.
okay. I don't mind. This is actually cheaper than that other magnesium I was getting. So
Okay. So what I'll do is when it comes to sleep, I will take magnesium glycinate before bed. But when it comes to me wanting to up my magnesium intake any other way, like whether it's for muscle spasms or cramps or headaches, magnesium's great at relieving headaches. It's great at
cool.
with menstrual cramps. I will take a different brand just because you kind of have to take like multiple pills and it just saves money down the road.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? Dina, Braun? I'll check Facebook. Wow.
No questions here.
Awesome. Okay, I'm just checking Facebook real quick, see if Facebook has any questions. Okay. See, Ruby Riojas was on. Thank you for joining. Happy to have you on the training. And I think that's it. I don't see. Hold on, let me double check real quick. Cool. That's it. If you guys want this PDF that I made, just let me know and I'll send it to you guys.
I'll take it for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you, Paige.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, so who wants to win something? Because you guys joined my Zoom. One of you guys win something.
I guess I will.
You're
Or want to. Or
like, I guess I'll win a 4th time because I win all the
yeah,
time.
no big deal.
Dina's raising her hand.
I know, always.
I know. Okay, so the thing, I was like, I ended up
Jacob's a
finding
prize hog.
what?
Jacob's a prize hog.
Right?
No,
Jeez.
give it all.
So because that happened so many times, I ended up finding a different spin the wheel thing. And I feel like the results are more randomized. So I will pull that up because that's a fun way to do that. So let's see. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see it. Okay. Huh. Oh, wait, maybe I can clear this. Yeah. Okay, so Jacob, Ronald, and Dina. All right, let's see who wins. Okay, we're gonna do the best out of 3.
Yeah, you can. I was gonna say you can spin again because I'm like, this is so weird.
I know, right? Okay.
Play the lotto. Play the lotto.
Right? Maybe you should, Jacob. Like, you've been dang lucky with me. Winning all these prizes. Okay, so
Yeah, Ron.
that's Jacob. 1 for Ronald. Whoever gets 2 first wins.
You serious? I totally give you
Okay.
permission to spin again if you want. You can spin again.
Well, I mean, by chance you did win, so you can have it if you want it.
I will
I'll let
take
you
it
pick.
then.
It's an Amazon card or Starbucks card.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Sorry, y'all. The wheel loves me.
I mean, it's even a different wheel.
I bought them all out.
Oh my god.
I'm
Probably.
kidding.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay. I'll send you the card.
All right. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Thanks guys for joining. Remember every week, every Monday, I'm having a live training at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. If you guys want me to cover a specific topic that y'all want me to teach all about, just make a post in the Facebook group Leaner and Stronger and 2 times a week. And I will get to teaching you guys those things.
Sounds good,
Okay.
Paige. Thanks so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you guys. Bye.
Thanks, Paige.